Hello, good evening, everyone. So welcome to day 2 of our Marketing the Gospel online session. And I'm glad that you've taken some time today to join us from all over the world. I see people are here from Quebec, Toronto, Canada. I'm sure lots of other places. I saw yesterday that we had people from Jamaica. We had somebody from St. Croix. So welcome wherever you're coming from. And I know that we're going to have an exciting session for you today with Pastor Kevin Wilson. So yesterday we learned some key points such as less is more, whether it's design or live streaming, less is more. Don't try to cram everything in. Always keep your audience in mind and recognize that your audience isn't just your local church, it's the world. You know, you're able to reach people now on a global scale. So you have to always have them in mind with the content you're creating. And then finally, anything you're doing in communications and media is a ministry. So you have to be prayerful, number one, and you have to be intentional about what you're putting out there. So without further ado, I am going to introduce our speaker, Pastor Kevin Wilson. So I became acquainted with him through Instagram. He's known as the cross-culture Christian, and he's actually become famous during this pandemic. He has 220K followers. So he has a growing platform. It grows every day to the point where I couldn't even settle on a number to put on the marketing materials. So I'm just saying 220K. It's probably more than that now. What I've learned from him is, in the short time I've been following him, is that chai tea is redundant because chai means tea. Second is that Starbucks chai is terrible. I used to like it, and I discovered that it's a poor imitation of the real thing. And the third is that you can use your passion for chai or anything else to spread the love of Jesus online. So just his bio here, he's a youth and young adult pastor at the Oceanside Seventh-day Adventist Church in Oceanside, California. He's passionate about helping people think meaningfully about life so they can live their lives meaningfully. Wilson describes himself as a third culture kid who grew up in Sri Lanka, Oman, and the United States. When he's not ministering to his congregation, he spends time nurturing a growing tribe of 200K plus chai-loving friends across TikTok, Instagram, and Twitter. He uses chai as a medium for storytelling. Currently, he lives in San Diego, and he's married to his best friend of 10 years, and they enjoy their fur children, Phoebe and Leo. So thank you for coming all the way from California to speak to us, and we're excited to hear what you have to share about using social media to share the gospel.
Well, thank you so much, Christelle and the Ontario Conference for this wonderful opportunity. It's a privilege to be a part of the session that you have. First of all, I just want to also affirm that the direction of the conference, and like even having something kind of a trailing session centered around the idea of communication, more specifically around digital communication, because the thing is, whether we realize it or not, we are slowly entering into a kind of a new era of human civilization. Sociologists call this the digital age, or the information economy, where people, regardless of where they are from, regardless of what part of the world they are, most people have access to the internet. Most people have access to creating content on the internet. And so if that's true, then people are actually making their entire careers just on social media. And even after the pandemic, that's become a huge thing. And so how much more should us who we call ourselves followers of Jesus, ambassadors of the kingdom, must be equipped and encouraged to actually get in on this right now. But yeah, it's an issue though. You know, it's like, how do you start? Like, what do we do? And some of us might be even thinking, hey, you know what? You know, that's all for the younger kids. You know, it's not for us. You know, we are done. Like, we kind of have our own kind of way of doing ministry. It's for those people. It's for the youth. But I'm telling you, being a content creator for the last 2 years, but also even more than that, I started off in YouTube. I've realized that literally anybody can go online and make an impact. You don't have to be a high school student. You don't have to be just a kid from elementary school. You don't even have to dance. Praise the Lord. In order for you to make a difference, you can do whatever you want with whatever you have. No, it doesn't matter age, doesn't matter talent. You can go online and make a difference for the kingdom of God. All right. So without further ado, I'm just going to jump straight into this presentation. And Christelle, if there's any issues, any problems, just let me know. Just interrupt me at any time. And we can go from there. All right. So let's see here. Okay. So I've titled this presentation, 5 Best Practices for Digital Missionaries. 5 best practices for digital missionaries. Because as I'm looking at the crowd and I asked Christelle, hey, who am I talking to? Christelle said, there's a group of pastors, and there's a group of lay people, and then there's a group of miscellaneous people, but we all seem to be united under this one common thread, which is that we realize that it's important to get at least equipped for missionary work in the digital space, and B, you also think that there's no time than now to actually get in on that. And so regardless of where you are, regardless of whether you're in full-time ministry or part-time ministry or not in ministry at all or pastoral ministry at all, I kind of structured this talk to help anybody, regardless of where they are, if they are interested in starting some sort of a social media ministry, social media, work online. Okay, so 5 best practices. We can talk more and more about this, but I'm going to jump straight into this. Now, before we get into this talk, I want to just give you a quick background as to my work on social media. So that's just a screenshot of my TikTok on my left, and then on my other side is my Instagram. So these are kind of crazy numbers because I used to be one of those people who thought that I wouldn't make it on social media. I did not have like the intention or even the interest of starting something and just growing something online. At the time I was a pastor, and so for me, it was important for me to just kind of stay in ministry and just do work there. But I've always been a creator, and so I've always for me the best way to learn is to create. And so from the time I was like 11, 12 years old, I'm 31 now, I've always created stuff and I've put it out in the public and I would love the experience of getting feedback. And so 2 years ago, it was a year ago in February 2020, I decided to make some chai, okay, which is spiced milk tea from my part of the world. I was born in Sri Lanka, and I decided to make chai and to put it online and put it on TikTok out of all platforms. Now, at the time, I didn't think too much about TikTok because I thought that TikTok was just, a kids app. A lot of the kids were on it, my youth were on it, and they were just making these dances and all that stuff. And so I was just like, there's no place for a pastor to be on TikTok. But as soon as I got on TikTok, I just realized how the potential of the app, because out of all the different social media apps that I had, TikTok seemed to be the one that's like mastered the ability to just keep people's attention for longer. Right? Because I started screaming, going up video after video. And I was just like, let me just experiment with TikTok and just see what happens. And so I decided to make some chai and record that experience. I just took some screenshots from my Instagram stories and I put a voiceover, like I recorded a voice over it and I put it on TikTok. And to make the long story short, that video went viral after a couple of days. And again, to make the long story even shorter, I kept doing it over and over again. I realized that there was a need for chai content. There was a need for tea content. And I just kept doing it. And so over time, I was more specifically in the last 2 years, there's a community of chai loving humans who are there and who are there in the comments, a highly engaged community. And I've also realized something very interesting, that the Christians are actually the minority in this group. Most of the people who actually show up are atheists and agnostics, people who have questions, people who are skeptics, people who never step into a church, people who have been hurt by the church, people who have gone through a lot of trauma. Those are the type of people who kept coming back to the comments, and they would say stuff like, man, I'm actually surprised that this guy's a pastor. So for that very reason, I actually did not take the word pastor from my bios. If you actually see my TikTok bio and my Instagram bio, the word pastor is right there. or the teacher is right there. I didn't want to take it because I wanted to find out what the response was for people to hear these things from a Christian, let alone a Christian pastor. But by the grace of God, we have this amazing community of people all centered around the love for a meaningful experience and a love for chai. And so the things that I'm going to share with you for the next few minutes are going to be things that are not only, I think, are important to me or things that have worked for me, but I believe that if you were to implement these practices, I'm 100% sure that you can actually grow, not just start, but grow some sort of a social media ministry wherever you're from, whether it's in the church, whether it's outside the church. Okay, so leave a thumbs up if you're still with me. Leave a comment saying, yeah, let's go, so that I know that I'm not talking to a blank wall. Okay, because I know being on Zoom and being on the internet, it's hard. So just let me know that you are here with me. Okay, so let's just keep going. I want to give you 5 blessed practices. Thank you, Pauline. Appreciate you. Thank you. Okay, let's go. So the first thing that I want you to keep in mind is to find your why. Find your why. The question that I want you to ask is, why do you want to start using social media? Like, why do you want to use social media? So some of you can even put it on the chat. I probably won't have time to look at all the comments, but why do you want to start social media? And the thing is, if your answer is to share the 3 angels message or to preach the gospel, though they are reasonable goals, they are still very, very vague. So I see some of the comments here. Let me look at the comments. Let me look at the chat. Okay, so some people are saying to reach as many people as possible, to draw all people to God through the way I carry my life, to preach the gospel, to connect with others, to lead people to Christ. Now, this is exactly my point. So the point is that when I ask a lot of people, I ask this question, why do you want to be on social media? A lot of people say, you know what? I want to lead people to Jesus. I want to reach other people for Christ. Now, that's a great goal, but I just want to let you know, my friends, that's still a very vague goal. That's still a very vague why. Because the more specific you are with your intentions, the more specific you are with your why, the more you will be able to create effectively, especially in the face of potential inconveniences and setbacks. So some people are also saying stuff here, to share Christ in a unique and different way. My question for you would be, what is a unique way? What is a different way for you, right? So here is the thing that I want to make this very practical to you, okay? What do I mean by finding your why? Okay, this is after every practice that I'm going to be sharing, I'm going to have a specific actionable thing that you can do after this talk, okay? So if you're taking notes, please take notes. I know this talk will be recorded, but please, as much as possible, do your best to put this information in a way that you understand. Don't wait to get the recording, because I know for a fact that some of y'all are like, you know what, this is great information, I'm going to wait for the recording, and that'll never happen. 1000%. Let's be real, okay? So I want to make sure that you take notes and you be intentional about this. So here's these are practice that I want you to keep in mind, and I want you to do this. Okay, this is a why practice to find out your why. I want you to prayerfully brainstorm why you want to be on social media, okay? And I want you to fill out this rubric. I want to help blank your audience. Who's your audience? We're going to come to this audience question in a few minutes. By your specific service, meaning what are you exactly trying to provide? What's the specific service that you're going to give through whatever you're planning to do? On what is the social media platform you're going to be on, so that they can and then add your value proposition. Now, for example, this is my value, this is my why for why I'm on TikTok. Look, check out this, and now compare this why to the whys that you're already in the comment section on this chat. Look through the comments and see how vague and how specific my why is, and how vague or specific your why is, okay? So check out this. This is my why. I want to help spiritual chai lovers by creating 1-minute videos about authentic homemade chai. Where? On TikTok, so that they can use chai making as a meaningful practice in their lives. Do you see how specific this why is? I'm not just saying I want to reach people for Jesus. I'm actually saying, hey, this is what exactly I want to do. Let's do another example. There's another example. Okay, next question. Okay, right there. I want to help lay Seventh-day Adventist Sabbath school teachers. How? By creating videos on the adult Sabbath school lesson on where? On YouTube, so that they can what? Have resources to teach the lesson for the upcoming week. I want to help by on so that they can. See how specific it is. Let's do one more. One more. Last one. Last example. I want to help Christian youth in Canada by making 1-minute reels on Instagram so that they can have tools to study the Bible for themselves. You see, the question of why is so important. If you don't have a why, you're going to have an issue. Now, a lot of people, if you're actually just starting this for the first time, you're like, man, I don't even know my why. I don't even know my why. What do I even do? Where do I even start? I want you to start with what you have, with what you know. Okay? I'm going to ask this question in a few minutes, but basically the question that I want to ask is, if someone gave you 1 hour to do a TED talk on literally anything that you want to do, and they ask you not to prepare anything, and there's no preparation before, and don't use your notes, what are some topics that you can speak on? What are some topics you can speak on? Do a list of those things. Okay, do a list of those things, and then start there from that point to actually start content. And if you are somebody who wants other people to make some of these ministry things, this is a question that I want you to ask for them. Okay, so this is a very important question. Start with why. You have to start with why. Okay, we're going to keep going here. After the why practice, the next best practice is to know your who. To know your who. The basic question that I'm trying to ask is, who are you trying to help? Who are you trying to help? Let me tell you this. I'm speaking to pastors, right? I'm speaking to Adventists. I'm speaking to Christians. I'm speaking to believers who want to do something for God for His kingdom, right? Now I'm gonna share something that some of you may not like, and I'm gonna be blunt with you. Okay, there's no time to just kind of skirt around. A common misconception is that you are going to reach everybody for Jesus and for the kingdom because you're just going to preach the truth. The people have this assumption that if I bring Jesus, if I talk about Adventism, if I talk about veganism, if I talk about the 300 messages, people are going to come. But what you might think as truth can be cancer to somebody else. Why? Because here's the thing. Let's just say you want to talk about Jesus to a bunch of people, right? And you just want to, and you're putting stuff on social media about Jesus, and you want to specifically reach the secular minded. Now put yourself in the heads and the shoes of the people who are secular. They might have left the church for whatever reason. They might have been burnt by God or whatever the idea of God was. They might have gone through a situation in the church. They might have gone through abuses. They don't want to hear anything about God. So the very people that you are trying to reach, you're going to alienate just by virtue of the fact that you clearly don't have an understanding of who you're trying to reach. You understand what I'm saying? If you want to reach a group that is resistant to Christianity, then simply having Bible verses or sharing a sermon may not be effective, because most of them will instantly tune you out. But if you research the specific needs of the group, a particular group of people, if you spend some time talking with them and learning about them from books, from research, from online articles, or whatever it is, and you take note of if there's any alignment between what they want and what you can provide, and you specifically address those needs, okay, without any strings attached, guess what? You're going to build trust with your audience. Someone once said this, and I really like this quote. It's from Sean Cannell, who's a YouTube content creator. And he said, start by answering the questions that they have. And over time, you're going to build enough trust so that you can start to answer questions that they don't even realize that they have. The fastest way to irrelevance, my friends, listen to this. The fastest way to irrelevance is to consistently answer questions that nobody's asking. The fastest way to irrelevance is to consistently answer questions that nobody seems to be asking. And so here we are trying to reach people for Jesus, reach the gospel, do all these different things. And when there's a kid who's there, and there's a group of kids who are there who've been hurt, who've been abused by their pastor last week. You see what I mean? So you have to know the people you're trying to reach. And that's exactly why I started to create chai content. Because in my mind, I was like, man, I want to do ministry. But I start to realize that there's a lot of people who are from all walks of life who are joining this community. People who are not Christian, people who are from the LGBTQIA plus community, people who are agnostic, people who are skeptics, people who are non-Adventist, people who believe in hell and people who don't believe in hell, people who are in everywhere between. So I'm just like, man, God, how do I reach these people for Jesus? And you know what God told me? God said, what's in your hand? A teacup. What do they want? They want tea recipes. Fine, give it to them. I'm good at it. I'm really good at it. By the grace of God. So I made tea content. And now you have a whole group of people who are just there for the tea content, and they know that I'm a pastor, and they still keep coming in. I don't know why. Start with where you are. Okay? Start with where you are. You need to know who you're talking to. You need to know your audience. You can't be like, I want to talk to the world. No. Even Jesus specified his audience. He didn't reach the world. He reached the lives of 12 people who instead reached the world. Okay? So let's keep going here. I'm getting excited, but I don't want to keep going here. Anybody excited? Are we on it? Are we on? Let me know. Give me some love in the chat section. Let me know if you guys are on. All right. But mute yourself though. Praise the Lord. Mute yourself. I don't want to hear your voices. Just put it in the chat. Okay, let's keep going here. So know your who, and then next one is the practice for the who. Okay, this is the question that I asked earlier. If I gave you 1 hour to do a TED Talk without notes and without prior preparation, what exact topics would you speak on? So from that list, start creating consistent content around 2 to 3 of these topics over the next 5 to 6 months without expecting anything in return. And your tribe will eventually find you. And that's another point that I wanted to make, guys. A lot of people think it's going on social media is as easy as posting some content and then you're just going to go viral and things are going to be easy. No. The biggest issue with a lot of Christian content creators, I've realized, and I've done this presentation many times. The biggest problem is not an issue of talent. It's an issue of patience. Y'all don't have patience. You got to have patience. You have to put the stuff. You gotta make the content, and you have to be patient and do it and get on the grind. Do it consistently. Get on a schedule. Do it. We're going to talk about scheduling in a few minutes. And your tribe will eventually find you. Okay. Pick one thing and then just keep doing it over and over again. Spend some time. And you'll grow. This whole social media thing you're not going to grow overnight. Come on. The fruit tree doesn't grow overnight. You didn't grow overnight. How are you going to expect your social media ministry to go overnight? Doesn't work like that. And social media, by the way, is a tool. It's just a tool. It's like a hammer. It's like a nail. It's like a pliers. It's not like this magic device that when you put your face on it, everybody's gonna be like, oh wow, what a beautiful face, this guy's amazing, let's just like him and follow him. That's not how it works, man. That's not how it works. It's a tool. It's an extension of who you are, and so you got to nurture, you got to grow it. So identify your who practice. You gotta and so this is something that you have to keep in mind. So next practice is to decide your when. The question here is, when are you going to post? When are you going to post? And the second important question on this is what I've not put this on the slide here is when are you going to be working on your post? Is also as important as when you're going to post. Because here's the thing, a lot of people say things like, oh, Pastor, you know what? I'm going to post on YouTube 3 times a week. I say, praise the Lord. Amazing. My next question is, when are you going to be working on it? And then they're stuck. They're like, I'm going to be working on my Sunday. I'm going to be working on Sabbath. I'm like, bro, scale back, my guy, right? So you got to answer 2 questions. When are you going to post? And then when are you going to be working on your post? And so time blocking these hours in your week is going to be crucial if you want to create consistently. And even if you have zero followers, posting at the same day and time every week will build a strong routine for you, and it will actually create trust because they know when they're going to show up. It's kind of like your favorite TV show. If you watch TV shows, if you don't watch TV shows, and if you think they have the devil, you know what? Thank God that there's room for all of us in the kingdom of Jesus, and including you and me and all of us in between. But like, just think about that favorite TV show, or maybe your favorite Doug Batchelor weekly sermon, whatever. That dude, the homie is going to show up the same time every week, right? Same thing for you. Build a consistent routine so that they'll know, hey, this guy's going to show up on this day and this time. Consistency creates predictability. Consistency creates predictability. Predictability grows credibility. Okay, this is good stuff. I want you all to take notes. Consistency creates predictability. Predictability grows credibility. And then credibility now, when you and other people know who you are, that actually encourages consistency. So it becomes this nice cycle, So this is now your when practice. Okay, so this is what you need to do if you when. So to pull out your calendar, at some point, you got to allot 1 hour of preparation time for pre-upload before you upload. Now, when I say 1 hour, this is going to depend on what you're going to create. Now, if you're going to create like a 10-minute video, it's going to take way longer than 1 hour. Okay. So realistically, this is for somebody who's like just starting. But if you're already on social media and creating content, you know how much time it's going to take for you to make a video or make a post. Give you an example. I did a time audit. Okay. I did a time audit on how much it takes for me to make a 60-second TikTok video. Okay. How much time it takes for me to make a 60-second TikTok video. Now that includes scripting the video, the idea, the video editing, the filming, the making the tea, all of that stuff. I did the math. It took me 4 hours. It takes me on average 4 hours to do one TikTok video. Okay. Now, and I say that, when I say that to you, some of you are like, nobody got time for that. I understand. But you also have to understand that I've been doing this for a while. And so I've come to kind of like a rhythm in my creation. But for some of you, you don't have 4 hours. Okay. But I know for a fact that you have 1 hour. Come on now. So you start with the hour that you have and let God multiply it. Just like he did with the breads and the fishes, right? Amen. So you got to start, man. You got to start and dedicate that time to Jesus. So going back to the slides here, pull out your calendar, allow 1 hour preparation time, pre-upload for research and writing and creating, etc. And then 30 minutes of time post-upload. So that means to respond to comments, answering, because you got to interact with the people. You have to put some time into interacting with it. I'm not talking about being on social media all 24/7. Excuse me. I'm not talking about that. Even I'm not on social media 24/7. I actually schedule my time that I'm on. I actually schedule the time that I create. So half an hour is great, more than enough for you to just kind of do comments and all that stuff. And then with that in mind, determine how many posts that you can create per week and schedule out the exact times needed to get them out. Very practical stuff. Start this. Is to when are you going to post? It's very, very important. Okay. Now, with two more, and I'm going to just breeze through this really quick. The second to last one, fourth practice, is to practice your what. Practice your what. What are you going to post? What are you going to post? Now, if you're at the beginning stages of creating content online, you may not know what to start sharing. And the best course of action at this point, like I mentioned earlier, is to begin where you are and not where you want to be. Some of us may have this idea of like, you know what, I want to be this amazing creator who is this amazing singer, right, on Instagram, singing devotional content. You have this kind of glorified image of what you want. And by the grace of God, you'll get there, right? But I think more often than not, it's that vision of perfection that often paralyzes people from creating in the first place. You got to be willing to actually be imperfect. You actually got to be willing to fail so that eventually you can find your voice. You have to try, and you have to just give yourself some kindness and say, you know what, I'm not going to be great my first couple of posts, and you're not going to be good your first 10, 15, 20, 30 posts. No, your first 100 posts is trial run, by the way. Just letting you know, if you are actually serious about growth, if you're actually serious about creating something that's sustainable, that's going to, maybe even generate some side income. I'm kind of making money on the side with this too, and if you want to kind of grow this thing, like you grow a church and community, you have to take a long-term view of this thing. So that's why I said earlier, you have to just do this for 6 months, do this for 5 to 6 months. You have to take a long-term view and not stop. Come hail or rain, sunshine, you just have to keep going. So what are you going to post? What are the things that you're passionate about? Or what are the topics that other people ask your advice on? Go back and listen. Ask yourself this question. What are people asking me their advice for? Are they asking me for marriage advice? Are they asking me for Bible study advice? Are they asking me to do this thing or that thing? Ask yourself, what are people asking you to do consistently? And you might come with kind of a common thread there. If people are not asking you for your help, okay, that's another issue, my friends, right? You got to put yourself out there. Right? Then another question to ask is, are they just coming to you for Bible advice, or are they coming to you for other stuff? One of the questions that I ask when I employ and when I interview youth assistants and people who work for us in our church, volunteers obviously, but some of them are paid staff too. I ask them, hey, what are some other things that you're interested about? They'll usually say things like, Jesus and 3 angels messages and Bible study, the 2400-day prophecy and this and that. And I'm like, all right, cool, that's great, that's awesome. But what else? No, I like Ellen White and I like scripture and all this stuff. Okay, great. What else? If they can't tell me at least 2 or 3 things that they're interested in outside of Bible, Jesus, and Christianity, I don't hire them. Straight up. Is that too harsh? No, I'm telling you, I'm just being truthful. Right? So because you have to have things that you're interested outside of what you do, so that you can actually make bridges and create bridges with other people. Come on, you're not just talking to Christians, you're talking to everybody, you're talking to the world. Okay, so dig deep. Find out what you're interested in, and then still simply start to create content. Now, what's the practice for this? We're going to go to the practice for the what practice. Pick a social media platform. Okay, I hope some of you are listening. This is good stuff, guys. Pick a social media platform. Identify 2 to 3 different ways of saying the same thing on one platform. So, for example, if I wanted to do a kind of some content around the promises of the second coming, on Instagram, I pick up Instagram, then I will make maybe a 1-minute Instagram video about a promise of the second coming. Maybe I would also do an Instagram story series about a promise of the second coming, right? I'll make different stories on like specific promises. I'll put a nice Bible verse maybe, and I put a nice picture of me making tea or something like that. Whatever, like I'm just thinking out loud right now. And then 3 would be to create a 30-second Instagram reel. Now, Instagram has rolled out reels, which is very similar to TikToks. And they actually have a lot more engagement than regular posts, something for you to keep in mind. So right now, we don't know when that's going to end, but right now they're doing well. So I create a 30-second Instagram reel on using one verse about the second coming of Jesus. So you see, even in one social media platform, there's so many different ways of creating content. So many, and every platform will have that. Facebook has it, Instagram has it, Twitter will have it, TikTok for sure has it. TikTok is mostly video, but even video content, there's so many different things that you can do just with video. I can do a duet, I can do a stitch, I can do a comment, I can answer a question, I can just make a tea and then not say anything. I can just say something and not make tea. You see, there's so many different ways of just using one small teeny idea. And just look at this, just with the second coming, if I've found 3 different ways to use the one social media platform. And I guarantee you, if you actually sit down and just pick one small idea and just think about like the different ways you can make those contents, you can come up with at least 10, easy, right? So, so something for you to keep in mind as we move forward with this one. So the last practice, I'm almost done. Last practice is to improve your how. Is to improve your how. Is to improve your how. Basic question here is, how are you improving your content? If you want to be successful on social media, you need to make a commitment to measure what you do. You have to. Someone said this. I don't know who said this, but it's a famous management principle. It says that what gets measured gets improved. If you don't measure it, it won't improve, because you don't know what's working. So if you don't know why it's working when it's working, you will not know how to fix it when it breaks. So you have to analyze. You have to figure out a way to measure how you're doing, right? And so creating missionally not only means to think intentionally about what you say, but also about how you say it. It's not just to think about the message, but it's also to think about the methods. You have to analyze those things. You're not just thinking about the gift of the gospel, but you're also thinking about the packages, the packaging, the wrapping paper, the ribbons, and all the other stuff. And the thing is this, right? The more you measure, the more you figure out what's working and what's not working, the more you are going to improve 1,000%. You're going
for the Rams.
So in the improve your how, the another thing that I wanted to mention here is that in a secular age right now, a lot of people, they don't want to be with Christianity. They don't want to do anything with Jesus. They don't want to do anything about the gospel. I want someone to hear me out very, very clearly. Excellence is evangelism. Your excellence, your intentionality, the way you come to what you do online with whatever you do is evangelism. Because here's what's happened. Here's what happens. You might be creating content around Christianity. You might be creating content on whatever. But if you are consistently creating content, and if you're consistently showing up, and if you're consistently improving, and people know that you care about the audience, and people know that you're responding to comments, and people know that you're being intentional, guess what is going to happen? Even if they don't come for your theology, they will stay for your intentionality. Even if they don't agree with your Christianity, they will still come for the way that you care about the work that you do. A cobbler came to Martin Luther, the German reformer. And he asked this question. He says, "Hey, Martin Luther, I have a lot of secular friends who don't believe in Jesus in my neighborhood, and I want to reach them for Jesus. What do I do, bro?" He didn't call him bro, but you know what I mean. Say, what do I do? You know what he said? I'm paraphrasing the quote. He said, "The Christian cobbler does not reach the neighbors by putting little crosses on his shoes, but by making good shoes, because God loves good craftsmanship." Woo! Because God loves good craftsmanship. In other words, the guy said, if you want to reach them for Jesus, guess what? Make amazing shoes. Just do good work, bro. They're going to come. They're going to come. And don't even do it because you want to reach them for Jesus. Do it because you want to offer some value. Do it because you offer a service. Because the moment they know that you're doing this to pull them, like a fish, like in the hook, and you're catching them and reeling them in, guess what? They're going to check out. Because put yourself in their shoes. Because you don't want them to do that to you. So you better show up with your authentic and full self. And so you improve your how. Take it one day at a time, one step at a time. Figure out what's working, what's engaging with the audience. And it might even be something that you have no idea about. Like for me, I had no clue that the thing that I'm going to be known for is going to be my tea. I had no idea. But I said, you know what? There's a tension here. People want this. It's not compromising my values. I'm being ethical here. And this is something that I really love to do. So let's just keep doing it. And I, in a million years, would have never believed you if you were to tell me that chai, making tea on TikTok, is going to have this community of 220,000 people and a book deal that's going to come. And then people have been asking me to speak on this thing for the last couple of years. I'm telling this because I'm not trying to like gas myself up. I'm just telling you that you can serve with what you have, with the uniqueness and the gifts that God has given you, with where you are, as long as you're consistent, as long as you surrender all those gifts and talents to Jesus, because He knows you. He knows you better than you know yourself. So let me do a how practice really fast, and then we can end with a quote and then Q&A. After your first 10 posts, schedule 30 minutes to ask yourself these questions. What piece of content drew the most engagement and why? Like after you make the 10 posts, wherever it is, whether it's Instagram, TikTok, wherever it is, ask yourself like, hey, what post got the most likes? What post got the most comments, right? And why? And then do some reflection. And then ask another question. What tiny change can you make to improve your next post? You see, what tiny change? Because a lot of people think, oh, you know what? I'm going to make this massive change for the next one because I messed up the last time. No. You have to. We're taking a long-term view. We're thinking sustainable change. We're being faithful to the time that we have and the energies that we have. So we're going to talk about tiny incremental change over a course of time, right? So small changes, small little changes. And what tiny changes can you make to improve your next post? And then incorporate those new changes for your next post, and then rinse, repeat. That's the process. And each social media platform have inbuilt analytics tools. TikTok has it, Instagram has it, where you can actually see how those posts performed. You can see how many people saw it. You can see how many people shared it. You can see what age group of people consumed your content. You can even go down to, you can be as granular as like gender preferences and even geography and locations. And so it's amazing to see. And so now you can now start to kind of tailor your content towards the people that are already watching, instead of tailoring the content to the people you think you would like to watch your content. You got to start with what you have. You got to start with the people that you have. Grow your tribe with where you are, not where you want to be. That'll happen, and God will take you there. And start slowly and slowly and slowly. It will grow. So this is if you want to take a screenshot, this is it. This is the 5 practices. Find your why, know your who, decide your when, practice your what, and improve your how. Improve your how. And I'm going to end with this quote, guys. I'm going to end with this quote. Check this quote out. It is better to light a candle than to curse the darkness. It's better to light the candle than to curse the darkness. And a lot of people right now, when they think about social media, they're like, oh man, that's where the devil plays. That's where Satan is. That's where all these people are doing their stuff. That's where all the bad people are. That's where all the crappy stuff is. When I say yes, to an extent, devil is everywhere, whatever, but not just on social media. He's doing his stuff everywhere. Sometimes in the church too. Oh my God, but I'm telling you, it's better to light a candle than to curse the darkness. All of you, and I'm looking at, I don't know how many people are watching here, but there's so many people watching here, like 90 something people. I'm telling you, all of you are lights. God says that God wants you to be the salt of the world, light of the world. You are light. You're reflecting the light of Jesus. Imagine the impact that you can make in the way that only you can make, with the beauty of your story, with the beauty of your challenges, with the beauty of your strengths, with the beauty of your weaknesses. You bring your authentic self to social media, wherever you are, where people, when they see you, they see there's somebody who's different. There's somebody who's radiating the love of Jesus. There's somebody who knows themselves, and somebody who genuinely cares, not in order to get approval, not in order to get souls for the kingdom. That's the work of Jesus. Conversion is not your work. It's the work of the Holy Spirit. Your job, pastor, your job, friend, your job, layperson, is to show up to work, and God will do the rest. God will do the rest. God will multiply that. So my challenge and my prayer is that you take that phone. If you have internet connection, you have the message, the means. You have a phone. You have the tool. So what are you waiting for? What are you waiting for? Amen. Let's open it up for Q&A right now.
Wow, that was really amazing. I've been motivated to look at how I'm doing social media like personally and with my work at the conference. So I just thank you so much. Like I've gotten so much out of this, like practical tools for getting started or leveling up, I'll say, in social media, as well as the inspiration, that we all have something in our hands that we can offer to the world.
Yeah.
And we just have to lay it down at Jesus' feet, show up, and the Holy Spirit will multiply our efforts. So thank you so much. So I'm just going to open the floor now to people who have questions, any questions you have for Pastor Kevin. So I'll get the ball rolling with a question that has come up a few times, which is, how can we reach non-Adventists? So maybe just a top tip for reaching non-Adventists.
Yeah. Give me a quick second here. I'm going to put this on the comment for chat in the chat for anybody who wants to find me. You can find me at Cross Culture Christian on Instagram, on TikTok, or just my website, crossculturechristian.com. So that's where I'm at. If there's anything that you want to contact me directly, let me put that in the chat in a few minutes and then we'll get to it. Okay, great question. So I actually did a talk recently just on this very talk. How do we reach the secular, right? And that's a loaded topic, but I'm going to condense the whole talk that I gave into three different things that you have to keep in mind. So these are three different shifts that you have to make in order for you to create content that's meaningful to the secular people. And by secular, I mean people who would not walk into a church, by people who have either left the church, who identify themselves as atheists, agnostics, the whole a-religious or whatnot, right? Maybe spiritual but not religious. Okay. The first shift that you need to make is to prioritize creation over consumption, meaning that a lot of people on social media right now, they're consuming content. There's so many people. There's like 3.7 trillion hours spent every week across the globe on social media consuming content, right? And so according to latest predictions, they're saying that by the end of 2021, we would have consumed so many social media hours that will total up to more than 430 million years of human existence. Okay, now that's just consuming content. So imagine if you create content over consuming. So first shift that you have to make is to start creating over consuming. Second shift that you have to make is to prioritize compassion over condemnation. If you go on your social media page right now, or social media pages of some of the churches or the Christian people that you follow, I want you to do an audit and just see how many of those posts are condemning and how many of those posts are compassionate. I mean, just take Spirit of Prophecy, just take the End Times. How many do you really think that someone would go to some of these posts and the Facebook pages and be like, oh yeah, wow, I'm so encouraged by this, pictures of 4 different beasts, and I'm just like, wow, I'm so enamored, I want to be an Adventist. Are you kidding me right now? You got to prioritize compassion over condemnation. There is a way to talk about truth without sacrificing empathy. You don't have to sacrifice empathy at the altar of truth. You don't. You have to be kind. You have to be approachable. You have to be. Otherwise, why would they even come? Right? Ellen White has a lot of stuff to say about this in Ministry of Feeling, but I don't have time to go there right now. But yeah, compassion over condemnation. Last shift, and this is probably one of the most important ones, is to prioritize connection over conversion. Prioritize connection over conversion. When I asked the question just in this chat, just in this room, okay, why do you want to be on social media? A lot of people said, and bless your heart, I want to reach people for Jesus. I want to win as many souls for the kingdom of God. I want to bring as many people as followers, into followers of Jesus. Now, all of those things are beautiful, and that's what we're called to do. Amen. But let me ask you this. What's your responsibility and what's God's responsibility? Your responsibility is to make content without any strings attached. It's God's responsibility to bring life with all the stuff attached. It's your responsibility to show up to work and to serve their needs. It's God's responsibility to find out what their other needs are. it's your responsibility to respond to their comments and be the light that you are in their communities by creating content that you would like to consume, but it's God's responsibility to reform them. So you have to prioritize connection over conversion if you want to be successful in a secular age, if you're doing social media stuff. So those are just like three big points. And so, but we can get granular if you need to, if you have time.
Okay, so something came up, an interesting question in the chat. So that was that looks are very important. It seems looks are very important on social media. So what are your thoughts?
I would, that's an interesting question. I don't know. I mean, I think looks are important. Amen. I mean, I'm not going to be, the pastor is going to be saying, yo, you got to be crusty and ugly and bring your ugly self to church. No, I'm not going to be the pastor who's going to say that, right? But maybe the question, I guess the question that I assume is the question here is like, how do we prevent ourselves from idolizing looks? Is that the question? Maybe I don't know, but maybe the question would be, I'm assuming now. Let me correct me if I'm wrong. Phoebe, is do you have to have a certain look or a persona in order for you to be successful on social media? Maybe that's the question. And I'm going to say 100% no. Here's what's important on social media. Okay, here's what's really important. If you want to grow, is authenticity. Authenticity. Now, what is authenticity? Authenticity has so many different definitions, but I define authenticity as bringing your true and full self on to wherever you are. It's harder said than done. It's harder done than said, whatever, you know what I mean. It's harder to do. It's to bring your full and authentic self. And so for me, my authentic self is my hair, is my accent, is how I speak, my energy. That's my authentic self. My authentic self is not me being pastoral. Like, even if you come to me at church, like right now, you go to my church, this is how I speak. If I'm talking, if I'm speaking to somebody, a friend, this is how I speak. Here's a quick test. Are you different people with different groups? That's sometimes you have to, because of survival, right? But the more you try to kind of minimize those gaps of being different people in different groups, the more I think you can bring your authentic self to the table. And so the question that I want to ask you is like, what makes you you? What makes you you? And your story is what makes you you. How you look is what makes you you. Find out what makes you you. Authenticity is currency in a digital age. It really is. Hopefully that was your question, Phoebe. Maybe it wasn't.
You're on mute, Christelle.
Yes. So we have Evans here, and he wants to give a question here.
Yeah, cool. Go ahead.
Thanks, Kevin, for your presentation. I always love your TikTok content and Instagram. You're always nailing it. So thanks for that and for keeping it authentic. So my question is, I think I've observed different content creators in the past as well. And something that as well, I think it's all nice and roses to just keep it compassion and love, which is what we should do. But what's your take on keeping things radical as well? Because I've seen the people who are very radical on important issues in society have the most engagement, and people are really leaning towards that. So what's your take on that? Instead of us taking the safer approach of just love thy neighbor, which is awesome still, what about attacking like the unspoken topics? Is that a good approach to have engagement on social media for like churches or different ministries?
Thank you, Evans. That's a great question, man. So the video that's most watched on my TikTok account is not a video about chai. It was actually a video that I made after this rapper. Some of you know him, some of you don't. It's not super important. His name is Lil Nas X. He came out with this single. It was a pretty problematic music video, to be honest. Like, I watched that, I saw that video, I'm like, okay, yeah, this is problematic, right? And problematic in the sense that there was a lot of stuff that was going on that was inconsistent with my beliefs as a Christian. And yeah, I mean, for me, I looked at that and I was like, okay, fine. Yeah, he is. And then my immediate reaction was, okay, he is behaving in a way that is consistent with his worldview. He's not a Christian. He does not claim to be, but he's consistent with what he thinks is right. Okay. What was really making me mad was the Christian response to it. Because I saw a lot of Christians actually going after this guy with pitchforks, and they were going after over and over again about what he said, and it just completely bashing him on social media. And honestly, and I saw some of the stuff on Twitter that he posted. He said, it's because of people like you. I was a church goer. It's because of people like you that I'm here where I'm at, doing whatever I'm at, making the songs that I'm at right now. So just keep them coming. This is just fueling me. And so they just kept, and the comments from Christians just kept coming. And so what I did, I actually made a small video, and you can find it on my TikTok and my Instagram, by the way, it's there. I basically said, yo, what are y'all Christians? What are we doing right now? And so I was actually mad at not him, but I was actually mad at so-called Christians. Okay. So, and that video went viral because there's a lot of people. That video with 2 million views and like almost 10,000 followers in a week. It was kind of crazy. And so to answer your question, absolutely, there is a place for you to be quote unquote radical. If by radical you mean that you're taking a stance, if you're taking a stand on an important issue, yes. But it's also important as to what your goal is in making that type of content. Like what you do some really dig deeper. Like, are you doing this for views? Are you doing this to actually make a point? Are you actually doing this to make friends, or are you doing this to make enemies? If you're trying to make enemies, you can. If you want to make friends, you can do it too. So you have to be clear about why you're doing what you're doing, because those are risky content. And you're right, 100% right. Those content will do well. On average, the anger, it does well. But in Christian circles, especially Adventist circles, I don't know, man. Like I know very few people who can get really mad and be loving at the same time. It's hard. But I've seen it done. But you also, but for between me and you, bro, and everybody else, I'd rather be known for what I'm for than what I'm against. I'd rather be known for what I'm for than what I'm against. That's just me. But go ahead, man. Thank you. Great question.
Yes, excellent question. So I'm just going to ask one more question. Yeah, so final question, unless someone has one more, but that is, how do I find engaging daily content for social media, daily, or let's say, whatever frequency, how do you keep coming up with fresh ideas?
Okay. Yeah, no, that's a good question. So for me, that happens in different ways. And let me, so inspiration can come in different ways. You can by the stuff that you read. So if you read widely, I try to read, like a couple of books a month. Just do some research on whatever you're interested in. So the more different sources that you get your information from, the better your content is going to be, because it's not just like one specific color. You're recognizing different colors. And so over time, you kind of develop a lens, kind of develop an appetite for a certain type of information that you like and you crave. And then what else? Also your own stories. So a big part of my TikToks are basically me sharing stories from my life. And so I've really realized that when I share a story, it is such a non-threatening, non-abrasive way to create a connection, a touch point between myself and the listener. It creates kind of this like bi-directional walkway where they can walk into my life and I can walk into their lives if I want to, and if they want to. Because I've had people say, yo, that's a crazy story. Me too, bro. Like I went through this too. I thought I was the only one. So stories from your own life is very powerful. So finding out a way to kind of record your own stories is going to be really key. I do this thing called the homework for life, which is actually practice by the storyteller by the name of Matthew Dix, which basically, it's very simple. Every day before you go to sleep, answer this question: what's one story-worthy moment from today? So basically, that's one story that's like, maybe that's a moment, like an aha moment that you had today that was kind of different from other days. Maybe it was a moment of pain, maybe a moment of joy, whatever it is that just made you like pause and be like, wow, or man, write down that moment. And over time, you realize you kind of develop a kind of a story lens. And so you can now get stories from all parts of life, and especially your own. And because the stories that you record today becomes the stories that's going to save somebody else tomorrow. And the stories you record today will save your life tomorrow as well. If you don't write it down, you won't remember it. And if you don't remember it, bro, it's hard. And so then also another point about inspiration. A lot of people wait for inspiration to come. But I like this one quote. Again, I'm paraphrasing. It says that I get inspired every day. And it happens to me every day at 9 a.m. because that's when this person starts to work on their content. So sometimes waiting for inspiration can be as crippling as just hoping to make good content. Sometimes you just have to show up to work and just write. You have to write bad. You have to make you have to be willing to make your first 10. Let me be even more radical. Your first 50 posts need to be bad so that you can now start to make good content. But the problem is we are all paralyzed by perfection, including myself. So you have to press upload. You have to press finish. Done is better than perfect.
Wow, that's awesome. Like, I can really resonate with what you just said. As a writer, you have to just sometimes write a really bad first draft just to get something out on paper. And then from there you can, refine it.
Yep.
So I've learned so much. And I know that everyone here, we still have almost 100 people here with us. So I know that everyone has been blessed, and they're going to take what you've said and make changes to their social media, or they're going to get started on social media if they have not. So we just thank you so much for being willing to come and share with us. It's been a really good evening.
Yeah, thank you so much, Ontario Conference, for this opportunity. Thank you, Christelle, for organizing all these different things. And also, by the way, if anybody's on social media, if you're on Instagram, if you're on TikTok, hey, reach out to me if you're a part of this conversation. I would love to just continue this conversation with you. My handle again is at cross-culture Christian, one word. If there's a quote that resonated with you, if there was an idea that made sense to you, I would love for you to maybe just put it on like a story or whatnot, and tag me there so that I know that you were there, and I would love to carry that conversation on if you have any questions. Yeah, I'm an open book. You can ask me any questions you want. My DMs are it's full pretty much every day, but I try to take the time to respond to you. So yeah, if there's any questions that you have, my doors are open. Come through. Let me know. Okay. Blessings.
Yes, blessings on you too. So before we pray, first I'll ask you if you're willing to close us out with prayer. I'm putting you a little bit on the spot, but before then, we have a surprise for people who've stayed with us all this time. And Samantha is going to share what that surprise is. Okay, so Lance Flash, you're the winner for today. So you're going to be getting a gift card in the mail. So thank you for coming.
Congratulations.
Congratulations. Okay, so so we'll ask Pastor Kevin to close us out with prayer, and then we'll wrap, and that will be a wrap.
Okay, hey, let's pray. Jesus, thank you so much for this opportunity. Thank you so much for reminding us that we are created in your image, and that you've blessed us with amazing stories, and that you have created us with the capacity to love and be loved. And what comes with that is the capacity to create meaningful things. Lord, you know the hearts and the minds of everybody here. It's an evening on a Monday afternoon. These wonderful friends could be doing literally anything else with their time, and yet they decided to show up right now And so first of all, Lord, we want to say thank you for that. And I know because of their willingness, Lord, that you are doing and already been doing something in their lives, that you've been doing something in their minds and their hearts, Lord. So whatever that is, Lord, whether it's to start something on social media, whether it's to inspire somebody else to do it, or whether it's to kind of continue on a project that they put off because of fear or because of a fear of failure, or whatever it is, Lord, I pray that you will come on them, that your Holy Spirit will lead them and guide them, that you'd sensitize their hearts and their minds to the frequency of your voice. Please, Lord, be with them. And as we anticipate your second coming, help us to be faithful to the gifts that you've given us, and help us to steward the strengths and the stories that you've given us, one day at a time and one step at a time. Love you in Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen. So we'll see all of you tomorrow, same time, same place. We'll have an open live streaming session with FIFA. So come with all your questions, and we'll do our best to cover them. So thank you again, Pastor Kevin. We've really enjoyed your time. And yeah, everybody follow him on.
And I love chai. I love chai.
Yes.
There was a special place for the king in the kingdom of Jesus.
Yeah, so definitely follow him. You can learn how to make chai. You can get a good social media example to follow. I'm definitely going to practice making chai at home from now on. So
Good. Praise the Lord.
yes.
Nice.
Very awesome, Pastor Kevin. Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Thank you so much. Appreciate all of you. Thank you. Thank you.
Yes,
Do your
thank
thing.
you.
You guys
We
are
really
awesome.
appreciate you.